Hello everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to create the blog post, and this is going to be really simple, and I'm going to show you how to do that with Next.js, with Drizzle, and also PostgreSQL. So basically, as you can see here, I opened the Drizzle Studio and this is empty. That's why we get an empty data in here. So let's try to create new post. I'm going to put this title right here, and also I'm going to paste the content, right? Paste that right here. And if I click create post, as you can see, we get a new post right here. And of course, on the Drizzle Studio, we have new posts as well because everything is come from the database. Okay. And also I can click read more. We on the detail of the post. We can edit that. For example, I'm going to update this title right here, update. If I click update post, as you can see, we have this update, right? I also can delete that, but first I'm going to create another post maybe. So let's create this title and also the content. I just want to copy and paste, right? And create a post. So basically I'm going to delete this update, for example, the Next.js versus React blog. I'm going to delete that. As you can see, we on the delete page. If I click delete post, now it's gone. Okay, so basically everything here is basically server component. As you can see right here, I just want to show you how it works. When I create, I use this function right here on the server. When I edit, I use this right here also on the server. When I delete, I also use that on the server as well. Okay, so that's what we are going to learn in this video. Hopefully you learned something new, and let's get started. So in here, I have brand new Next.js application. So let's first go to the page.jsx, which is on the home component in here. The first thing is I'm going to remove all of those, right? All of that. And I'm going to do div right here and just wrapping everything inside the container and MX auto and then padding 4. And inside in here, I'm going to put the heading 1, let's say my blog, like this. Let's save that. Let's take a look. This is what we have, right? So let's styling this heading one a little bit. I'm going to do class name, text 3XL, font bold. Let's do bold. And also I'm going to do margin bottom to 4. Let's save that. This is what we have. Great. So inside in here, I'm going to create a link, right? So this link is basically have a href into /create. So basically when I click this button, it will go to the create page. So I'm going to add this class name right here, right? And also inside the link right here, I'm going to say create new post. Save. Let's take a look what we have. As you can see, we have this button create new post. When I click that, it will go to the create page. Great. So now inside in here, for now, I just want to create a dummy data. So that first I'm going to just copy and paste this all post array. All right. As you can see, that have ID, title, create, add, and content. This is just a dummy data. Later, we are going to make sure we get that data from the database. But for now, just for styling, I'm going to create this a dummy array right here. Okay. So I'm going to map through that array inside this div. So let's put a div. And I'm going to say all posts, okay, dot map. I grab the individual posts, and then I'm going to return a div right here. So just make sure the key it should become from the post.id, like that. And in here, I'm going to say post.title. Just for example, as you can see right here, we have two title, right? So I'm going to add border in this div. So let's do class name, border, padding, and rounded. As you can see, this is what we have. And also I like to have gap between this card right here. So let's go to the parent of the all posts right here. I'm going to use class name space y. I'm going to set that to 4, right? Space y4, like that. And we have this space right here. Great. So let's render the title inside the link and inside the heading too. As you can see, I'm wrapping the post title inside the link. So I can click that link. And then when I click that, it will go to /post/ whatever the ID. And also this heading to have this styling right here, text XL, semi-bold, and when I hover it, the text will becoming blue. That means this heading to is clickable. Let's go back in here, and as you can see, if I hover it, it's look like this. All right, let's go back again in here. Under the link, I'm going to put the content. So I'm going to paste this paragraph here that have margin top, and then I render the post.content and I use a substring function, right? And I get the first 150 character on that content string. So this is what we have. So above this content right here, I'm going to put the date basically. Let's go back in here and I'm going to paste this date. As you can see that have p tag with a text create 600. So in here, I'm going to say new date and I put the created at from the post. And then here I use two local date string function. If I save that, as you can see, it's going to be look like this, right? We get the date value. Great. So under in here, under the content, I also want to put three button basically: read more, edit, and also delete button. So I'm going to paste that right here. As you can see, this div have margin top 2, and inside that we have three link: read more, edit, and delete. Read more is going to be go to post / whatever the ID, and edit will go to edit whatever the ID, and also delete will go to delete whatever the ID, right? Let's take a look how it's look. As you can see, that's pretty cool. And now let's try to create all that page. Let's go back here, and inside a page, I'm going to create first the post right here. Okay. So I'm going to create file. So I'm going to say post dot, as you can see, it's going to be go through the ID, right? So I'm going to use array like this, ID, and then I'm going to say /page.tsx, just like that. So if I do rfc and then change this to detail, right? This is going to be detail post like this. I'm going to save, and as you can see, if I click read more, now we have this detail post, right? Let's go back again. If I click edit, as you can see, it's blank, of course, because we don't have that post, that edit page, So let's copy this post right here. I'm going to paste that inside the app. And then I'm going to change the post right here into edit. And inside the edit, we have ID. And also inside that, we have page right here. I'm going to change this into edit page, just like this. And then now we have edit page, right? Let's go back and then let's go to delete now. And then now we need to create the delete. So I'm going to copy this edit, paste that. And let's take a look what we have. I'm wrong, so let's delete that first. What I should copy is everything inside this edit right here, right? So let's select the edit, copy, paste. Now I'm going to change the folder here. Let me grab that into delete, just like that. And as you can see, inside the delete, we have ID. And then now I'm going to change this edit page into delete page, just like that. So as you can see, every folder have an ID, every folder have an ID, and inside the ID we have a page. Great. So now we have the delete page right here. Great. Every page have created. So now let's try to styling the maybe read more first. So on this detail post, basically I'm gonna get the individual posts from the page right here. This is just for example, okay? So I'm gonna copy this ID one, go back to post right here. And then I'm going to create a variable called post and then just paste this object right here. Okay, as you can see, we have this ID, title, and next, etc. So we are going to render that post here inside this detail post. So first, I'm going to make sure that this div, it should be have class name container. So let's do class name, container, mx auto, and padding as well. And inside that div, I'm going to put a link right here. So you can go back basically. So I'm going to put this link right here. As you can see, this link is going to become from next link that have this href / because when I click that link, it should be back me to all posts, which means on the root page, right? That we have text blue 500, margin bottom, and also inline block. If I go back right here, as you can see, we have this back to all posts. If I click back, it will direct me back to the root of the page, right? Great. Let's go back here. So here I'm going to render article tag. So let's do article tag like that. And inside that we have a heading 1 with title of the post. As you can see, if I go back right here, we have the title. And inside that right here, I'm going to put a paragraph tag, right? And I'm going to render the, let me do post dot content like this. Let's save that, and as you can see, this is what we have. And also above the content, I'm going to put this right here, right? As you can see, first thing, I'm going to create update add a value on this object. So I'm going to copy and paste this right here, and I'm going to use update add. Paste that right here. So what happened here, basically, I just render the post.created@, as you can see right here, and also I adding this condition right here. So as you can see, if the update post more than created @, so that means after I create a post, maybe I update that. If I update that, of course this condition will be true, and of course this will render, right? Update on whatever the date is. Let's go back in here, and as you can see, we have published on 2/1/2024. Let's go back in here, and then I'm going to change this date here into, maybe I'm going to say 2, right? Save that, and now as you can see, we have published, and also we have update on the top right here. Also, from this detail, I like to user have ability to edit and also delete. So let's go back to page right here, and I'm gonna use this button right here. So I'm gonna copy all of that, right? Go back here and then just paste that inside the article, or maybe I'm gonna put that outside the article, just like this. Save that, and let's take a look. As you can see, we have read more, edit, and delete. Because we own the detail, of course, read more, I'm going to delete that. So now we just have edit and also delete button. Great. So now let's go to edit. As you can see, there's no anything in here. So let's try to styling that. First, I think it's better to styling the, I think the create first, right? Because as you can see, if I go back here, if I click create new post, it's blank, right? Because we don't have that page. So let's create. I'm going to create file first. So let's do create page. And then inside that, we have page.tsx. Let's do page.tsx. Let's do RFC and then create page. Now we have create page. Great. So inside this div, I'm going to first put the heading one that have this text right here, create new post. And inside that also we have form, right? So I'm going to remove the action for now. And inside the form, we have a div right here that have a class name. I'm going to do margin bottom 4 maybe. And inside that, we have input, right? So first I'm going to put label that have a title right here. And inside that also we have input. So let's do input like this. Let's take a look what we have. All right, cool. So now let's styling this input a little bit. I'm going to do class name. Width, I'm going to set that to full at some padding, border, and also rounded. As you can see, this is what we have, but I like to have container around this div. But as you can see that we already doing that every time we create new page, right? This container here. So I think it's better to putting that also inside the, maybe putting that inside another component, but I like to just putting that on the layout for now. Just make it simple. Right here, I'm going to create a div, right? That have class name, not this one, but let's go back here. I'm gonna use, let me copy this container, right? Go to layout and then paste that right here. And inside this container, I'm gonna put these children. So now basically I'm going to remove all of these container for each page. On the page, on the, I believe on the edit, oh no, I think on the detail, right? We're also adding that right here. I'm gonna remove it. Save. Now we have this container, right? Let's try to go back. We also have this container. Great. Cool. So let's go back again on the create page. On this label, I'm going to set the HTML4 to title and also class name, display block, and margin bottom 2. Let's take a look. Great. And also inside this input, I'm going to add another props in here like require. This is going to be require. And the name, I'm going to set that to title. And also the ID, of course, it should be a title as well. So let's save that. Let's take a look. This is what we have. Okay. And down here, I'm going to create the content form as well. So let's copy all this div right here. I'm going to copy that and then paste that down here. And for this label 4, I'm going to change that to content like this. This text is going to be content. And also let me take a look here. I'm not going to use input in this case, but I'm going to use text area like this. The name is going to be content. ID it should be content like this, right? And also I'm going to add class name. I'm going to set the width into full, padding 2, border, and rounded as well. And also inside that I have the require field. And also I'm going to put the rows into, let's say 5. Save and let's take a look. As you can see, look pretty nice. Also down here, I'm gonna put the button submit. So let's do button. This button should be have text create post. And inside this button, I'm gonna specify the type. It should be submit button. And also for the class name, I'm gonna use this background blue, text white, and etc. So this is what we have. Great. For now, just leave it like this, right? So now let's create the edit page. So basically the edit is going to be same with this create. So I'm gonna copy all of those. Maybe I'm gonna copy just this div right here, right? The return. Let's go to edit and then page right here. I just want to paste that like so, right? Let's go back and then I'm gonna go to edit right here. And as you can see, this is what we have, right? And of course, I'm gonna change this into maybe edit post like this. And also I'm gonna put the default value. So let's take a look on the detail right here. I'm going to copy that again. All right, this is just for example. And then I'm gonna put that on the top right here like this. So now we need to render the data into the specific input. For example, this input right here that have a title name, I'm gonna say default value into post.title. And also down here, the default value, not default check, but default values is going to be post.content, right? If I save that, and as you can see here, if I click edit, we get that value, right? And of course, this is not create, but it should be update. Let's change that to update like this. And also I like to have button back on the top right here. So let's paste that button right here that have a link. As you can see, if I click that, it will redirect me to the detail. Let's go right here. If I click back to post, now we on the detail. All right, so now we are going to install and set up Drizzle ORM. And then let's first go to orm.drizzle.theme. And then first you need to go to get started, right? After you click that, you need to select what the database you want to use. So in this tutorial, I'm going to use PostgreSQL. So I'm going to click that, right? And just follow all the instructions. Let's go on the very top right here. First, we need to install this everything here, right? I'm going to copy that, go to the terminal, and then just paste that right here. Like that, it will install the Drizzle ORM, PG, and also .env. And also I'm going to install this Drizzle kit as well. Let's go back. All right, so let's paste that also right here and hit enter. So in this tutorial, I'm going to use Node Postgres drivers, right? So anyway, Drizzle has native support for PostgreSQL connection with Node Postgres and PostgreSJS. So of course you can use PostgreSJS as well. Just go to this link right here and you can read that and also implement that, right? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna stick with this Node Postgres. So after we install all of this, next we need to create the database URL inside the env file, right? So let's first create the env file .env, and then we need to create the database URL. Okay, I'm gonna copy the name, paste that right here, and then how we create the database URL. I'm gonna click this right here. And then, as you can see, this is basically step-by-step how you set up PostgreSQL locally, right? You can use Docker and etc. But I just have my Drizzle open right here, right? I just download from the documentation of PostgreSQL, and then I can just click start right here. So anyway, I'm gonna scroll down right here, and then as you can see, this is the link, right? It's Postgres, username, password, host, port, and database. I'm gonna copy maybe this one right here and then paste that on this database URL. So I'm going to use PostgreSQL in this case, and then Postgres for the, let me take a look, user. And also for the password, my password is random password, by the way, in my local, like this. And also for the database name, I'm going to use my block DB or whatever you want, right? My block DB. So the next thing is we need to create index.ts and paste this code here. I'm going to copy all of those, go back right here and create a DB folder, right? And inside that, I'm going to create index.ts and then paste this code right here. So we don't need to use this .env config. And then I just want to export this DB variable like this. But the better way to export Drizzle is use pool. So I'm going to paste that right here, right? Pool come from the PG that we already installed. And then we create variable called pool. We initialize the pool and then put the connection string into the process env.database URL. And then right here, we can use the pool. So we can just put that like this. So what the difference? So basically, this will avoid creating new connection for every query, right? So I'm going to use this one right here. And then the next thing is we need to create the schema. So if you take a look on the documentation right here, we need to create the table, right? Create schema.ts. So I'm going to copy the name, go back to DB, and then inside here, let's put the schema.ts. So how we create the table? Pretty simple. This is how we create that, right? So basically, I'm going to create a post variable that have this PG table called post, right? And inside the post table, we have an ID. This is basically a primary key. And we also have title, it's text. Also, we have content, it's basically also text, create add, and update add. Really simple table, right? Great. So after we create that, next thing is we need to create drizzle.config.ts file on the root, right? So on the root right here, I'm going to create file drizzle.config.ts. And then what we are going to do is just copy all of this, everything, right? Paste that like so. So in here, we need to specify the schema that we are going to use. So basically, we're using app directory, right? Not use source. So I'm going to remove this one right here, the source. So just make sure this file is redirect into this schema right here. And the dialect, we use PostgreSQL out Drizzle folder. This basically will create Drizzle folder in the root. And also the DB credentials come from this database URL. After we create the Drizzle config, now we can applying the changes into the database. We can run this command basically. So I like to put that command on the package.json file. So let's go to package.json file. And in here, I'm going to create new script. So basically, I'm going to paste this db push and also db studio, right? This is will push the table, the schema into the database, and this will open the Drizzle Studio so we can see the database. Okay, great. So now let's try to run this db push first. So I'm going to say npm run db:push. So as you can see, this will push, but as you can see, we get an error because the my block db database does not exist. So we need to first create the database. You can go to your database and create a new database, but I like to just create it from this command right here. Create a DB, call, what the name of the DB? I forgot that. Let's scroll up and my block DB. So I'm gonna say my dash block dash DB. Okay, hit enter. And now let's try to do npm run db push again. After I do that, as you can see, pulling schema from database and changing applied. Great. So now we can run the db:studio to open the Drizzle Studio. I'm going to open this local.drizzle.studio, open that. And hopefully now we have one table on the database called post. As you can see, we have that right here. I hope you can see that. I'm going to make it bigger, super bigger. Right, as you can see, we have an ID, title, content, create add, and also update add right here. So how we create new data on the database using Drizzle. Let me show you how this works. I'm gonna close everything first, right? And then we are going to go to the create page. So this is basically the place that we are going to push new data, but make sure we run also the npm run dev, right? So let's do npm run dev like so. I'm going to close the terminal. And then as you can see, if I submit, nothing happened, right? If I go back here, let me go back, bro. I think this is still compiling. Create new post. As you can see, if I click create new post, nothing happened basically. Create new post. As you can see, this is just normal form in HTML. Okay. So now on this form, I'm going to add action. So let's do action like this. And the action name, I'm going to say create post. This is basically function. So for now, I just want to create inside this create page component. You can do that inside the action folder, whatever you want, right? So in here, I'm going to say async function like this. The name of the function is create post. And also inside in here, we have the form data. So let's do form data that have type form data like this. So inside this function, I'm going to make sure this is going to be run on the server. So I'm going to say use server like this. And also inside in here, I'm going to say const title, right? Basically, I want to get the title for the form right here. So I'm going to say title set equals to form data.get title, because I specify this name is title, so I can get the title value. And also down here, I'm going to get also the content like this. So we get the title and content value. So here, if you want, you can just console log the, let's say, title and also the content, right? Save that. Let's take a look on the console. Here, I'm going to create post. Nothing happened, because what happened is it's going to be show the result on the terminal because we own the server component, right? So as you can see, we get that value right here. Nice. So now we need to send that value, the title and the content, into the database using Drizzle. So what we can do, we can say await db, right? db is going to become from the index that we already create right here, right? This db here, we use that. We can say db.insert, and we are going to insert that into the post table, okay? And then inside in here, I'm going to say dot values. So what value we need to send? Basically, we are going to send the title and also the content. So I'm going to say title and content, just like this, right? So after that, I'm going to say revalidate path is come from the next/catch, and I'm going to revalidate the /. And also here, what I'm going to do is redirect user into the home. So I'm going to say / like so. Okay, so now what happened is if I click create post, it will await this db.insert post, right? Just make sure we import the post from the schema, and then we send this value, title and content. Great. So let's take a look. I'm going to paste this title 1 and content 1. Okay, if I click create post, as you can see, we redirect into the home on the /. And let's take a look on the Drizzle Studio. I'm going to refresh, and hopefully now we have this one data, right? That's pretty cool here. We have the title 1 and content 1. Great. So how would we read that data from the database? Let's go to page right here. Remember, we're using this dummy data, but now we need to, the data is going to come from the real database. So I'm going to remove that. And inside the home, first, just make sure this function is to be async function, because we need to wait when we get the data from the database. So here, I'm going to create a variable called all posts set equals to await, right? Or the db's come from the index, right? Dot select, I'm going to select from post. Okay, it's going to become from this post is going to become from the schema, and then now we can use the all posts, right? So let's take a look what we have. If I go back here, refresh, as you can see, we have title 1 and content 1 render in here. That's pretty cool. And how simple is this? So let's try to create the second post. So I'm gonna click create new post, right? And then title 2, and then this is going to be content 2. Okay, if I click create post, as you can see, we have title 1 and title 2, but I like to, the last post is going to be on the top, not on the bottom right here. So title 2 is going to be on the top. Let's go back right here, and basically we can use function called order by, and what you need to order, basically I'm going to use descending. So I believe it's come from the Drizzle ORM like this. And what you need to order, so basically I'm going to order the post dot created at like this. So if I save that, now the post 2 is going to be on the top, and after that we have the title 1. So now as you can see, if I click the detail right here, right, if I click the title, it will redirect me to the post / the ID, right? Let's go back. If I click the maybe title 1, now we on the localhost 3000 / post / ID, and this content is basically dummy data, right? So let's fix that. Let's go to page right here. All right, we need to make sure this is going to be come from the database, not from this data here. So first we need to way to get the params right here, right? We need to way to get this one value on the top right here. So let's go back here, and then we are gonna get that from this prop. So we can say params in here. This param should be have type, let me say params ID string, right? This is param, it should be have ID string. And now we can do that inside in here like cons. Just make sure we change this function into await. So we can say await async, right? And we are going to create post set equals to await. This is basically really similar like we're doing on the top right here, right? db.select from, let's do that again in here, db, right, .select .form. We need to run that first. From, we need to make sure it's going to become from the post, and then I'm going to specify the where, right? I'm going to use the equals in here, right? The equals come from the Drizzle ORM. I'm going to close this first, okay? And inside this equal, I'm going to run it and send the post ID. It should be equal to params.id. But as you can see here, we get an error here. It's a, I believe the string is not assignable to number. It's because the post ID is number, right? Because as you can see on the schema, I'm going to showing you right here, right? This is serial ID, not string. So let's go back. We need to change this string right here into the number. So how do you do that? It's pretty simple. We need to wrap this params.id with number. So we can do number.parse integer and just paste that params.id like this. Okay, so after that we get the post. Let's first remove everything on the top right here. Let's save. Let's take a look. As you can see, we have error right here. ID number, title string, content string. Okay, I think sometime it will get an error, right? So we need to check that down here. If the post doesn't exist, we need to make sure we return something in here. So I'm gonna say div, and then I'm gonna say post not found, maybe just like this. We still get an error. I'm not sure why. Let's hover it. I think the problem is because we get an array, not object, right? Because let me just try to console log the post here so we can see. I'm gonna console log that, and let's take a look. As you can see right here, right, we get an array, not object. Okay, we need to get object, basically, not array. Let's go back here, and I'm gonna use another function inside this db. Okay, so I'm gonna use a dot then, and then let's grab the response like this, and then I'm going to return the response first object on the array. Let's try to see. As you can see, we have a title 1, content 1 right here. Great. It means now the content is rendered. So the next thing is let's working with the edit. So if I click edit, as you can see, this is not what we want, right? Let's go to edit page, and then in here first we need to get the data from the database, and we can use this right here, right? So first I'm going to just copy this parameter, the property, copy all of that, go back in the edit page and just paste that like so. Right, because on the edit page we also can get these params right here, right? And then what we are going to do is, yeah, same, I think. So I'm going to copy everything here, go back right here, and then just paste that like so. So just make sure this function, it should be a async function that so we can use the await right here. Just make sure the db come from the index, also the post come from the schema, and then the equal function come from the drizzle, and we done. Okay, so let's save that. And also, instead of using this post, now we can use the post come from this database. Let's save that. Let's take a look what we have. Refresh. As you can see, we have title 1 and content 1. So the way we edit the post, will be really similar like the way we create a post, right? So let's go to the create right here, and I just want to copy this create post function. Let's go to edit and then paste that on the top right here like so. And then now on this form, I'm going to create action, right? This action is to be have function call, I'm going to call this update post. Just make sure we also update this function to update post. And then we run new server and then get the title and the content. And also instead of insert in here, we need to update, right? So I just want to remove everything here. Just make sure the revalidate path is come from the, why I cannot import that? Let me take a look. This one, right? Come from the next catch, and also the redirect come from the next navigation. Great. So now we can do db dot update. So we're using update function, and inside the update, what the table you need to update. Basically, I'm going to update the post table, and then in here I'm going to set. Okay, I'm going to set the title and also the post, the content. So the title is going to be set equals to title that we get from the form, from the input, and then also the content, it should be come from the content. And then here I also want to update the update add into the new date, right? Also, let me just close right here so you can see very clearly. All right, so let's try to save. And as you can see, basically what we're doing is we update the post table and we set the title into this new title right here, the content into the new content right here, and the update add into this new date right here. And also we just make sure that the post ID should be matched with the post ID that come from here, right? The post right here is basically come from the schema, and we just use equal function just to get the specific post. So let's try to update. I'm going to add, for example, update right here. I'm going to click update post, and now as you can see, we redirect into the my blog root right here, and we have the title one updated. Great. So now we know how to get, how to create, how to update. And now let's working with the delete. Let's go back here, and maybe I'm going to delete this title too. I'm going to click delete. And anyway, we don't create the delete page. So let's close everything here, go to delete page. And yep, first we need to just styling this delete page. So on the delete page, basically we need to also get the params ID. As you can see right here, we need to get these two parameter on the URL. So the way we do that is, of course, it's really similar like how we get that from the detail right here, right? So I think we can just copy all of these props and then paste that on the delete as well. So how do we get the data? Also really similar. So I'm going to copy all of this and then go back to delete, paste that inside the return in here. Just like that. Just make sure this function should be async component. And then of course we need to import the db, post, and the equal function, and also we done. Okay, inside this div, I'm going to put a link basically, so we can go back into the detail. So this link is going to become from next link. If I save that, as you can see, we have the back to post. So under in here, I also have the h1 that have delete post title. I also have paragraph right here. Are you sure you want to delete post? And I just use this post title inside the span that have font bold and also underline. So this is what we have, right? Are you sure you want to delete post too? And under that, I also want to put a button to delete the post. So because I want to run the function inside the server component, I'm going to use form instead of just button. So this form have a delete post function, right? So I'm going to create the delete post function on the top right here. So we can say const delete post set equals to error function like that. So yeah, let's take a look the UI. I think we got something wrong happen here. So just make sure this function is async function and we use userver as well inside the function. So now what we are going to do in here is we need to await into the DB, right? DB dot, we are going to use delete function, delete, and then inside that delete, I'm going to specify what the table I'm going to delete, which is the post table. And also I'm going to specify here where the post ID is equal to the post ID. So this post is come from the schema, right, on the top right here, and this individual post is come from the DB, right? So just make sure we get the post, and then after that we need to revalidate, and also we need to redirect. So basically I'm going to use this to function here and go back to delete post and just paste that like so. Just make sure this comes from the next catch, redirect come from the next navigation. So let's take a look what happened here. So basically, after I click the button delete, right, that have type submit, of course, this action will run. Delete post will run, and then inside in here, we run the db.delete, the post table where the post ID is equal to individual post ID, come from the ID right here parameters, right? So let's try. I'm gonna go back here, I'm gonna click delete, and as you can see, the title too is deleted. Great, now we have all the functionality for the CRUD operation, create, read, update, and delete, and you can use this example of this code right here, right, to create beautiful blog posts, of course. So let's try again for the final testing. I'm going to create new post with this title, and also I'm gonna copy the content here, right? Let's try to create a post. Now the post is right here. Great. So I can click read more. We get all the content here. I can edit that. For example, I'm gonna say update on the last right here. Click update post. We have update right here. Great. So if I click delete, now we on the delete page. If I click delete post, now it's gone. Great, everything look working. So basically you already learned how to create, read, update, and delete. So you can implement that on any project. Basically you can create to-do list, you can create whatever you want with this simple example, right? Hopefully this video helpful. See you on the next one.